The story begins with a girl named Somi who was sleeping on her bed when she suddenly woke up and noticed a very handsome boy lying next to her. She became extremely panicked, quickly got up from the bed, started waking the boy up, and asked him who he was and what he was doing on her bed. The boy calmly responded by asking why humans make so much noise. That was when Somi suddenly remembered the previous day, when her friend had recorded a video of her boyfriend with another girl and sent it to her. After seeing that video, Somi, feeling terribly heartbroken, wandered off and came across a very smart-looking merman. The moment she saw him, she fainted and collapsed right on him. The merman then brought her to her bed and laid down next to her. All these memories started coming back to Somi now because she was very drunk the day before. As soon as the merman came out of the water, his tail turned into legs, and he introduced himself as Mercury, the crown prince of the mermen from Atolia. While talking, Mercury began moving closer to her, and Somi sensed that his intentions didn't seem very innocent. She grew frightened, backed away, and asked him to give her his parents' phone number so they could come and take him away. Mercury told her there was no need for that and said he would go home when the time was right. Then he asked for some clothes to wear. Somi gave him her clothes, dressed him up, and threw him out of her house, telling him to leave. But Mercury told her he wouldn't return home until his mission was complete. Somi said there must be somewhere else he could go. In response, he pretended to get emotional and told her he was scared that someone might find out his true identity. Then he began crying, but when his tears fell, they turned into pearls. Upon seeing this, Somi, who had been standing at the door, ran toward him and picked up one of the pearls, only to realize it was real. After that, she told Mercury it wouldn't be safe for him to roam around outside. She offered him a place to stay at her home on one condition: that he would have to cry for her. Using some emotional drama, she made him sit down and start crying, and his tears kept turning into pearls. Somi then asked him about his mission. He told her that when he was younger, he and his sister once accidentally showed their real forms to a human. That person saw his tail, and in fear, he hit the person with it. Later, his sister told him that the person was his soulmate. Now that he was grown up, he needed to find that person, kiss him, and complete his mission so that he could return and become the king of Atolia. He said he couldn't return until he found him. While Mercury was narrating his emotional story, Somi was too busy collecting his pearls like she was harvesting monsoon crops. She asked him how they would find that person, and Mercury replied that he already found him. He studied in her school. Mercury mentioned that he had heard Somi helped people, so now she would have to help him too. Somi agreed and said she would help him, but only if he helped her in return. Then she took him to her sketch class and made him stand on a table so that all the students could admire his beauty and paint him. In return, she also collected some money from the students. But in the middle of the class, Mercury suddenly ran away. Somi followed him, stopped him, and asked why he was running. He told her that he smelled the person who had once seen him in his merman form, but he couldn't find that person anywhere. After that, Somi started to leave, but her boyfriend's new girlfriend and her friends began mocking her, saying that with a face like hers, she would definitely die single and nobody was ever going to love her. Right then, Mercury showed up and asked Somi why she wasn't answering his calls and whether someone could seriously get angry over such a small issue. Then he gifted her lots of pearls and intentionally dropped them in front of those mean girls just so they would realize the pearls were real. Mercury even proposed to Somi in front of them, making all the girls incredibly jealous. After that, both Somi and Mercury left for home. On their way, a car was about to pass by a water puddle. Mercury quickly lifted Somi and placed her aside. At first, Somi thought he was protecting her, but as soon as the car passed and splashed muddy water all over her, she got extremely angry at Mercury because clearly his aim was to save his laundry, not her dignity. Mercury said he was thankful he survived, while Somi, who was extremely angry, asked him why he did something so foolish. She called him a stupid sea creature. Mercury explained that the moment water touched his legs, he would turn back into a merman, so he was left with no choice. Just then, the owner of the car stepped out to apologize to Somi. While he spoke to her, Mercury found himself getting attracted to him. He moved closer and told the man that everything was absolutely fine and he was looking so handsome. Somi quickly pulled him to her side. The man's name was Ching. He told Somi that he was a student of marine biology at her college and gave her his number, saying she could call him if she ever needed anything. Mercury took the number and cheerfully said, "Why not?" After they got home, he told Somi that Ching was the same person who once saw him in his real form during childhood. Somi asked what he planned to do now, and Mercury replied that he would kiss him 3 times, and once that was done, his mission would be complete, and he could return home. Somi asked how he intended to kiss him. In response, Mercury began demonstrating from a distance by blowing kisses toward her. When she tried to dodge him, he did it again, just to tease her. Somi pulled him by the ear and scolded him, saying he was a very ill-mannered sea creature. Later, she investigated more about Ching and told Mercury that apart from studying marine biology, he also worked at an aquarium. After that, they planned to go to the aquarium to carry out the kiss by faking illness. They arrived, and Mercury lay down on the floor pretending to be unconscious. Ching found him lying there and tried to wake him up. When Mercury didn't respond, Ching checked if he was breathing. Mercury held his breath, so Ching assumed he was having a heart attack and started pressing on his chest. Mercury still didn't move, so Ching was about to give him CPR, but just then, a cleaner nearby accidentally dropped a bucket full of water. To avoid the water touching his legs, Mercury suddenly stood up and ran off. Somi came up with another plan. This time, she pushed Ching from the stairs so that he would fall on top of Mercury. But just before that happened, Mercury moved away thinking Ching might get hurt, and Ching ended up falling to the floor. Mercury ran away again, and Somi approached Ching to apologize. When Ching asked what she was doing there, she noticed a job vacancy poster nearby and quickly said she came for a job interview. Ching told her that he took great care of the fish and hoped she would do the same. When they returned home, Somi beat Mercury up thoroughly for running away. Mercury then told her that there was a monster outside her house and that his life was in danger, but when Somi went to check, it turned out to be just a cat. She realized Mercury was scared of cats and, seeing an opportunity, decided to tease him even more. She left him outside with the cat as punishment. The next day, Somi was drinking with Ching at a bar. Mercury was also there, watching them secretly from a distance. But Somi drank too much and started babbling random things to Ching. Mercury signaled her to stop talking, but she passed out. After a while, when Ching went to the restroom, Mercury picked her up and took her back home. On the way home, Mercury asked her why she drank so much. Somi replied that she read in stories that if a merman didn't find his true love, he would turn into stone, and she wasn't ready to adopt a decorative statue just yet. The next morning, someone rang the doorbell at Somi's house. When she opened the door, a lady stood there and introduced herself as Mercury's sister. Somi let her in, but as soon as Mercury saw her, he pulled Somi into his room and started packing his things. When Somi asked him what was going on, he told her the woman was not a mermaid, but a witch. In response, Somi threw him out of the room and locked the door. When Mercury's sister came to the room again, Mercury angrily asked why she came, insisting it was his house and she should leave. She calmly said she came to check on his progress. Mercury showed her Ching's photo and told her he was just about to kiss him. She replied that what he was saying was completely absurd. Just then, Somi stepped out and told them she was going to work. She left with Ching. Mercury and his sister followed them all the way to the aquarium. There, when they saw Somi and Ching talking sweetly, Mercury got jealous and tried to splash water on her, but Ching stepped in and protected her. That night, Ching dropped Somi home and even gifted her a fish. At home, when Somi looked at the fish, she said it was very beautiful. Mercury became furious and said that she found everything beautiful except the most handsome merman in the world. Somi replied that she was in a very good mood and asked him not to ruin it with an argument. She then walked toward her room and Mercury followed her, but she didn't let him enter the room. Just then, Luna, his sister, came, shoved Mercury inside the room, and locked the door because she suspected that her brother had started liking Somi. Inside, Somi started trying to get the door opened. When Somi couldn't open the door, Mercury went to the bed and fell asleep. Somi began waking him up and told him that it was her bed and she was the one who would be sleeping on it. Eventually, they put a curtain in the middle of the bed and both of them slept on either side. But in the middle of the night, lightning began to thunder loudly and it started raining heavily. Somi, feeling scared, held Mercury's hand while sleeping. The next morning, when Somi tried to wake Mercury, he wasn't waking up, so she bit his hand to wake him up. Mercury then noticed that the door to the room was open. He ran to look for his sister, but she was already gone. However, She had left behind a letter and her shopping card for Mercury. In the letter, she wrote that Mercury should do what his heart says and find his soulmate. After this, Mercury went to the aquarium and tried to kiss Ching, but he had a beaker of water in his hand and some of it accidentally spilled on Mercury's feet. Just then, Somi arrived there with a trolley, quickly made Mercury sit on it, covered him, and took him away from the scene. Ching was left wondering why Mercury was always avoiding water. Soon, he began to realize that Mercury was the very same person he had been searching for since childhood. After that, Mercury and Somi returned home. Somi was very angry with Mercury and said that if Ching had seen his feet, who knows what would have happened. In anger, she went and sat away from him. Trying to cheer her up, Mercury showed her the shopping card his sister left, and the two of them went shopping. After shopping, they sat in a park, where Mercury told Somi that although he had completed his mission, he really liked her food, so he didn't want to go back. Later, they returned home. Meanwhile, Ching was shown in a flashback when he saw Mercury in his mermaid form. He told everyone about it, but no one believed him and people called him a liar. That's when he decided he would study marine life and one day prove to the world that mermen really exist. The next day, Somi left for school and Mercury was home alone. He started bathing in the bathtub when it suddenly began to rain heavily outside. Mercury thought to himself that Somi had left without an umbrella and it was pouring, so he might as well take an umbrella to her school and use that as an excuse to get closer to her. He put on a raincoat and rubber shoes and headed out. At school, Somi was in her sketching class when Ching arrived. She handed him her resignation letter, saying she could no longer work at the aquarium as she didn't have time because of her studies. Ching then asked her who the boy staying with her was, saying he behaved very strangely and even kissed him the other day. Somi replied that he was her landlord and mentally unstable, which is why he behaved so weirdly all the time. Then she left. While she was heading home from college, it was raining heavily. Ching came from behind with an umbrella and asked her to walk with him. Meanwhile, Mercury was also nervously making his way with an umbrella to pick up Somi. But when he saw her walking with Ching under the same umbrella, he felt deeply hurt. During the conversation, Ching proposed to Somi. She apologized and walked away. When Somi got home, Mercury was nowhere to be seen. But then she noticed a tear and a note from Mercury on the table, which said, "Goodbye." After his departure, Somi became very sad and kept thinking why he left without telling her anything. On the other hand, Mercury went to his sister and told her to take him back home because Somi and Ching were in a relationship. His sister responded by asking how he could judge Somi without knowing her properly. She told him that he should express his feelings to her because, from the way she cared for him, it didn't seem like she didn't love him. Mercury agreed, but said his mission was already complete and that he had kissed Ching. To that, his sister said that the mission was to find his soulmate and he could always change his target. She admitted that she was just joking when she said Ching was his soulmate. After that, Mercury went back to Somi, who was making his sketch while thinking of him. When Mercury saw her drawing his picture, he realized that she truly loved him. Somi asked him where he went without telling her. Mercury explained that on the day it rained, he went out with an umbrella to pick her up. But when he saw her under Ching's umbrella, it hurt him deeply. Somi hugged him. They both were about to kiss under a blanket, but just then a teacher caught them and kicked them out of the classroom. When they got home, they were solving a puzzle together, and Somi dozed off. Mercury kissed her, and the kiss woke her up. Afterward, Somi gave him a watch as a gift so that she could track his location at all times. The next day, Mercury thought that since humans work to feed their wives and children, he should also find a job. So he went to work at a grocery store. While working there, a couple who were known for fighting more regularly than checking out groceries showed up again. The girl wanted to buy beer, but her boyfriend stopped her and walked off to return the beer can. At that moment, the girl noticed Mercury and asked him if a girl named Somi used to work there before. She guessed that Somi got fired because of her complaint. A few days earlier, she and her boyfriend had been arguing at the cash counter over beer, and Somi had processed the bill. This made her boyfriend angry enough to file a complaint against Somi, which eventually got her fired. Noticing Mercury's good looks, the girl felt instantly attracted to him. She said it was a good thing Somi was fired and someone smart like him got hired instead. Mercury flirted back, saying that he was grateful to her because if she hadn't complained, he wouldn't have gotten the job and wouldn't have met such a beautiful lady. And honestly, if flirting were a sport, Mercury might have won gold that day. Just then, her boyfriend returned, and right in front of Mercury, she insulted him and broke up with him. After finishing work, when Mercury was about to leave for home, he saw the girl waiting for him outside. She told him she was now single and asked if he would be her boyfriend. In response, Mercury turned his eyes red to scare her. She screamed in fear and ran away. Mercury then returned home and decorated the entire house. When Somi arrived and saw it, she was pleasantly surprised, but Mercury wasn't there, and he wasn't answering her calls either. Somi used the watch she had given Mercury to track his location. Meanwhile, Ching had kidnapped Mercury to conduct research on marine life and mermaids. He even hurt Mercury severely. Ching said he had always told people that mermaids existed, but no one ever believed him. People even called him crazy, but now he wanted to prove to the entire world that mermaids were real. Somi followed the location shown on the watch to a building where Ching had set up a lab. She was horrified to see Mercury in that condition. Ching sensed someone's presence and went to check the door. In the meantime, Somi helped Mercury escape from the aquarium. But as they were fleeing, Ching spotted them and demanded that she hand Mercury over. He said he had spent his entire life studying Mercury and trying to prove mermaids existed, and he wouldn't let her take him away so easily. Somi replied that Mercury was a living being, just like them, and didn't deserve to be taken. They then used gas from a nearby fire extinguisher to fill the room with smoke and escape to the building's rooftop. Somi told Mercury to go back to the ocean and never return, saying that humans were evil. But Mercury disagreed and told her not all humans were evil. At that moment, Ching found them and charged toward them with a surgical knife. Mercury hugged Somi and asked her if she trusted him. She said yes, and with that, Mercury jumped off the building with her. While falling, he transformed into a protective water shield and vanished, leaving Somi safely on the ground. She believed Mercury sacrificed himself to save her. Devastated, she spent days in sorrow. Every day she wrote letters to him and threw them into the ocean sealed in bottles. Then one day, when she returned home, a bottle rolled toward her. At the same time, she heard sounds coming from the bathroom. When she checked, she saw Mercury standing there alive and with all her letters in his hand. He had come back to meet her. Seeing him again, Somi was overjoyed, and that's where the story ended.